Alright, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. So yeah, welcome back. Hopefully it'll be a short stream tonight. Yeah, it's just, I'm exhausted. I had a nap before, so let's hope I can power through. What do we want to do tonight? We actually do want to finish up the API stuff. We want to wrap that all up. It does require quite a lot of testing first. So yeah, we'll jump straight back into it. I am just going to run npm run watch. Actually, no, I'm going to run npm run prod because I feel like everything we've done is done. We just need to quickly test it to make sure we haven't introduced any breaking bugs. I also want to open up Postman. I'm going to put Postman here. All right, so we're going to run debug mode. And we are going to jump onto our localhost. So I'm going to test what we did last time. Oh, my stream rate's down. Oh no, it's fine. All right, cool. I haven't dropped. Has happened before. So we're doing the admin user. And as you can see, there's the API keys. I'm just going to delete them all. There's no API keys. We're going to create one. We're going to call it Postman Test. The expiry, I'm just going to put never. Oh, that's got an error. 400 bad request. Okay, it is sending. Okay, I think it's because of the never. So give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to go npm run watch. I'm also going to grab my cat Socks, who's freaking out for some strange reason. Come here, sweetie. In your bed. I've also got pizza coming, so I'm just keeping an eye on that. 4 minutes. All right. They're very, very close. All right, that's fine. All right, so we got everything compiled. Just keep an ear out for them. I think it's, my guess is the serializer. So if we jump into the serializer, we scroll all the way up to the top. We have the, expires in as an integer field. We're going to do required equals false because we got back a 400 and something, didn't we? Oh, that's a forbidden one. Oh no, wrong page. Sorry. This one we got a 400, which is bad request. So yeah, it means it's expecting a field and did get that field. So we're going to have required false. Ooh, and we've just hit our first ad break. All right, for those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour. So those who join on Twitch don't get pre-rolled ads because they suck. We do this so no one misses out on any content. So yeah, otherwise you usually get to see me. You also get to see Socks, which there she is. She's the one meowing a lot. And yeah, how are you guys going? Hopefully you're going well. Oh, and I do have food coming. 3 minutes away, all right. Two minutes away. It's not showing them on the map. They must not. Anyway, about 40 seconds left the ads. Hopefully everyone's going well. Yeah, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully merge in all of our changes for the API and do a final test and then do a release. So this step's just doing the quick test of what we've done. We're going to merge that into development. I've done quite a lot of small little changes, so I've added in package upgrades and all that kind of stuff. I want to double check those and then do a push, and then I want to check to make sure the Docker build works. And we've got a new process for that, so yay! I get to show off my NAS. So yeah, which is awesome news. Anyway, we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so we're ignoring Postman at the moment because we're doing this. So we've got a 400 request down, socks down. No. Yes, I know. Yes, you will. Someone hasn't given you treats yet. Okay, so we've got a 400 because we're expecting that. I've just changed that to required equals false. I'm also going to go down to the create. Expires in pop. Otherwise that will be none. Expires in is not none. All right, cool. So that should work there. I'm going to do a refresh, making sure my server's back. We are going to do the same thing. We're going to go never, and we're going to go Postman. And we're going to go create API. All right, so from here we can copy this API. And Julian, how's it going? It's going good, going good. I can't complain. I had a nap before, which was lovely. So yeah, I'm going to paste this one in. And there we go. So these are the improvements. We've now got pagination in on the API and stuff like that. I'm going to deny that message. So yeah. Anyway, I do know there's pizza coming. So I'm going to look at my phone very, very quickly. All right, they have delivered. I will be right back. Sorry. All right. Sorry about this, because I had the nap. I forgot to, well, I didn't forget to make food. I just didn't have time to make food. So, yeah, I do apologize about this. Okay, let's get back into it. So, this now works. I'm happy with this. What if I delete this key straight away? So, if I go into here and I hit delete, it should no longer work. We go into here, I'm going to hit send, boom, to then. I'm happy. I think that is working. We are going to deploy a quick fix for this. So, I'm going to remove static. Git status, we should only have one change in here. So, git add. Git commit, and what we're going to do is fix to the user API serializer the expiry by get the field name correct. Expires in. In field is not always required. And we're gonna push. All right. I'm just gonna do this to the camera. I'll make sure Socks is in the oh yeah, she is. There we go. And I am gonna eat some food, so I do apologize. I have only had a little bit of yogurt today. So I am a little starving. All right, so I'm going to bump that to the right so you guys can actually see the screen. So I'm happy with this. I think this is all working. The only other test I want to do is with a non-super user. Ooh. Okay. Hold on, I did delete. Yeah, I know why. Give me 2 seconds. Gonna run prod. The code's not there. Now the code's there. Alright, so there's currently no API stuff for these users. I'm just gonna... Ooh. 403. Forbidden. Alright. I'm using the GNOME desktop environment. I just had plain vanilla basic Ubuntu. So yeah, I did a long time ago play around with other different desktop environments and so forth like that. However, I just don't have the time to do that anymore. Now, this is a bug because we actually want to hide this from non-super user people. It's good that it doesn't work here, but I feel like this whole user API keys should be hidden. So we're actually going to do that. I'm going to close all tabs. This is actually a template thing, so we're going to minimize that. We're going to open up this. We are going to open up NearBeach. We're going to open up the templates, NearBeach. Then it's under users. And we've got user information. So we've got the API list here. Now, in Django, you've got a bunch of different if statements, and one of them is to check if the user is a super user. So let's go Django template, check user is super. Is your cat the senior dev making, yes, she is. You'll hear her meow constantly. So, yep. So I keep forgetting this command on the template. We don't need any of the settings or anything like that. Okay. All right, cool. I'll just do something similar to that. So, what I want to do is above here, I want to add something in. If user.isSuperUser, and then that will be the end if. I do believe this will work. It's been a while. And then in here, if I hit refresh, yeah, all right. I don't need that. Give me a couple of seconds. Django user. It might actually be under here. So I'm just eating my food. Oops. I've never really done leak code. However, that's not gonna. I don't have anything negative against leak code or anything like that. I've just never done it myself. I like building projects, so it gives me something to talk about in the interviews and stuff like that, and with people be like, all right, cool, I built this sort of thing, came across these sort of problems, and this is how I solve them. All right, working with user objects. Yep. We need all of that. There should be one that is super user. We've got is authenticated. I might be remembering. Might be another command. All right, quick. So Django check user is super user. It is there. All right, I am going to cheat. Just building something up slowly. So in here we should see hello world. All right, dark admin is the user. We know is authenticated is going to work in the templates because we've seen it in the documentation multiple times. So that's true. Oh. They are a super user. All right, hang on. This might be a bigger problem. They are a super user. But how can the admin... Okay, we've found another problem. This is why we test. So I am going to get rid of that. I am also going to write if user.is super user. All right. So we don't want this appearing for any users that aren't super users. So it's just as simple as that. Easy done. But we've got a problem. So if I refresh this page, I'm going to bump this over. We've got a 403, which is a forbidden status. So in our backend, we're not allowing this user, who is a super user, to create and destroy API keys. They should be able to. All right, going to minimize everything. Just open up NearBeach. I'm going to open up source, JavaScript, components. No, I'm not going to do any of that. I am going to open up NearBeach. I'm going to open up the views. I'm going to open up the, not the tools, sorry, the API users and user API. So it's saying with this create that it doesn't have access. Now that's our permission class. Permission is admin user. Oh. Okay. I think I know the problem. So if we go into here, the request user themselves, Socks, leave my pizza alone. Socks, there's a reason why, come on. I can only do that with one arm. There we go. You should be supervising, Socks. With the dark admin, you'll notice that the is staff is set to false. Okay. I think we're gonna have to write our own. Either use something else that they've got in here. So instead of is admin user, find out if there is an is super user and use that, or build our own workaround. And Tiles cartoon. I don't know the context about the no. So it's authenticated, Django model permissions. Okay, it doesn't look like there is. But what we could do is Google. All right, so this is part of permissions. We've got to search for permissions up here. The REST framework. So I'm going to go the Django REST framework is. We are going to limit this down. So permission classes. We're going to have a look. Yep, so how permission classes are determined for running the main body of each permission in the list check. All right, cool. Object level permissions, which we've got an object level permission in this sort of case because it's overriding the globals because we want something very refined. Limitations of object level permissions. Yep, that's fine. So default permission classes, settings, for example, REST framework permissions is authenticated, allow any, base permissions is authenticated or read only. All right. Yeah, is admin permission class will deny permissions to any user unless user.stuff is set to true, in which case permission is allowed. All right, we're going to have to build our own. And not going to be a problem. We can actually do this very, very easily. So, the hard problem is, where are we going to put this file? Because if we actually have a look at this, we actually go to the implementation itself. It's only a couple of lines. We will be copying these lines and changing this to is super user. We'll be going is super user as the class name. And yeah. All right. So, if we were to put this somewhere, we'll go NearBeach, NearBeach. It won't be middleware. It won't be management, definitely not management. It will be probably utils. I do believe utils. So I'm going to create one called permissions API. We are going to copy the, I'm just going to copy those 6 lines. I'm just going to paste them in like this. Easy done. We'll need the base permissions for this. I'm just going to rub my face off. Ah, there we go. And she comes back. No socks. No. Out. Down. There you go. So we'll need the base permissions, which is part of the REST framework permissions, base permissions. So REST framework.permissions, import the base permissions, easy done. we've got the class is that, oh, I didn't actually copy over that one line. Sorry about that. There we go. And what we're going to do is instead of admin, we're going to put super user. Only allows super users. All right, easy done. Not a problem. Anyway, socks is back. There you go. This should be it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to scroll up. This isn't going to be used anywhere else, so I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to go from nearbeach.utils.api.permissions import the not the base permissions. We want to import is super user. And we just key it in like that. Okay, so I'm going to fling that off to the right. We're going to hit refresh. We're waiting for the server to come back. Something's broken. I have clearly broken something. Socks, are you coming back because I'm touching the webcam? Don't know what you want, do you? Alright, I'm just going to refresh this, stop and rerun. Because we probably got an error. Oh no, alright, that was a bit weird. We're just going to hit refresh. There we go. We've still got a 403. So we've still got a forbidden. I'm just going to check that we're actually... that's probably because I'm doing this still. Is super user. Alright, coming back. We no longer have a 403 and we are getting the data through. So yeah, that's not a problem. Oh, sorry. I'm just dropping things at the moment and I can't move that fast. So, what I'm going to do, GitHub, Django, REST framework. Okay. I'm just thinking if there's anything in here. At a quick glance, probably not. Alright, yeah, I kind of like that. This was done well over 10 years ago. I think the current naming falls into the good enough category to not justify changing it. It might be reconsidered with the 3. Alright, cool. What I'm going to do after stream, I'm going to do a little bit more searching. Cool. Yeah. Easy done. Okay. Alright, I'm going to retest this key. This key should just work. Oh, we're in this one now. If I can generate a key, I'm just going to generate it very quickly. Yep, that can be generated now. I'm happy. This key should just go into here. We should just go paste, and we're going to send, and boom, we get our 2 results. Alright. I'm gonna go, oops. Okay, remove static. static. Oops, sorry, I just had a brain fart. Git status. So yeah, we've added that. We've changed that. Yep. Oh yeah, and we added in the. So that was one thing I was also going to test to make sure if this still appears. So we're just going to jump into the back end very, very quickly. All right. No. You had your chance, Socks. And we are going to undo this. And then we're going to the front page. We're going to hit refresh. So a admin user can actually do this. So you can set it up so admin users can jump into here and do all that kind of stuff. But we only want super users to be able to edit the APIs and so forth like that. The reason being is any admin can come in. Let's say you're in charge of a team and you're setting stuff up for onboarding members and stuff like that. You don't want to give them access to creating API keys and so forth like that. So, yeah. Alright, sorry, I'm just making a bit of a mess. Excuse me. Actually, you know what? You guys get to see Socks again. I'll drop that. Well, that's my pizza. Stop eating my pizza. So, once again, git status. We're happy with all of that. We're going to git add everything. All right. Oops. Actually, hang on. I've made a mistake here. So, fix to any user who does not is staff ticked. All right. Also hiding the API generation from those who are not super users. Now, one thing that won't work at the moment is the testing. Oops. Sorry, I'm not in my virtual environment. There we go. I'll just Python 3 manage test. And Toyshin, how are you? So I'm building an open source project management system called NearBeach. Let's jump over into it. This code might stop working because I don't have the build front end yet. The idea being is you can click organization, customer details. You can gather user requirements and break them down into requirement items. From there, you can create projects and tasks and have Kanban boards to help track those tasks. You've also, once you're ready for a deployment, got requests for changes, just in case you ever do a request for change. So yeah, we're using Python / Django for the back end and VueJS for the front end. So yeah, I've been building up the API. We've got version 0 out, which is very alpha sort of stuff. We're getting a lot of feedback and making changes to the API. We've just sort of deployed the ability to create and destroy API keys. And yeah, now I just got to get everything. I've got to get the tests working again. They won't be working at the moment for a number of reasons. One, because we've made changes with how the API actually authenticates and stuff like that, where instead of using just the Django REST Framework API, we've supplemented it with the Django REST Nox. We need to regenerate quite a lot of the API keys, so our tests will work. So if we have a look in here, we can see a couple of these tests not working. So test. Test view test. Yeah, key error auth token. So yeah. And problem installing fixture, which I understand. Yeah. Anyway, welcome. It's a very chill stream, especially tonight. I'm exhausted. I had a massive nap before this. I didn't have time to cook dinner, so I got myself a pizza. So yeah, you'll also see me eat pizza. Anyway, let's get these unit tests fixed first. Shouldn't be too hard to do. I think the vast majority of them will be both the fixture and the API keys. So we can do two birds with one stone with that. All right, give me a couple of seconds. Sorry, I've been logged out. We're going to go onto the secret screen. I gotta verify. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the workstation. So, sorry, cat hair. As you see, there's a couple of number of failures. It's just for this one particular branch. I'm fine when it's a feature branch with this many failures. That's perfectly fine. We know this one's going to fail. That's not going to be a problem. I'm interested to see if anything else fails. So we're clicking on this one. The front-end unit tests work perfectly fine, which is great. How's my hand? It's actually my shoulder. It's going good. A bit uncomfortable at the moment, but that's fine. It's part of the recovery. I can see it recovering. It's recovering well. All right. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. We are gonna close that. We're gonna close that. We're gonna close that. Just thinking how we're gonna tackle this. First tackle, we're gonna delete the database. The second one is make sure there's nothing there. Git checkout development. We're gonna pull in all our changes for the development. I'm also going to go pip install the requirements.txt. I'm also going to do that for the dev, just in case I've done anything like that. We've also got, I know there's a list where I want to update all the pip stuff. And I keep forgetting how. So pip, because I just Google it, update all outdated. All right, as you see, it's at the top of my list. It's all this one, it's this one. No, Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow one's faster. Because I get to go down here and I'm just like, oh, if I'm using pip less than that. With pip 22.3, the outdated and the format freeze has become mutually exclusive. Oh, okay. What pip version am I using? 25, all right. Gonna paste that in. So now will be pip disabled pip version check list outdated. I got it around the wrong way before. So we're piping in the args. So yeah, we're just doing an update. Because I'm cursed whenever doing a Docker upgrade that I always knock out 1 or 2 versions. All right, cool. So we've got that updated. Okay, cool. npm install. I think we got a, all right, sweet. Where was I? I'm going to fix the tests. So we're in develop at the moment, and what I want to do is I want to create the database. So Python 3, manage, migrate. We're only going to deal with, can I deal with both databases at the same time? No, I'm going to deal with them with 2 separate commits. It's just going to be easier for me to do that. I'm going to try and, if I remember, smush in the feature. So it's fine to do it like this. So what I'm going to do, Python, oh, socks. What the hell? Ugh, socks. You step on my keyboard, cord. All right. So Python 3, we're going to manage, we're going to load data. We're going to load it from the fixtures, and we're doing the no setup first. Now, what I'm going to do, git checkout. Oh, I forgot the feature name. So git branch, git checkout feature, and it implement Nox. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the migrations. My Python 3 manage migrate. So this will apply all migrations that we need for the Nox stuff. That also includes 1 migration for NearBeach. And then what I want to do is Python 3 manage dump data format JSON indent to, and that's going to be dumped into the NearBeach fixtures, the NearBeach no setup. And that's fine. Okay, cool. So if we go git status now, there it is, git add, git commit, fix to the no setup fixture for unit tests. So dealing with one of them at a time, a lot easier. So right now I'm just going to remove that database because we don't need it anymore. I'm going to go git checkout develop. We are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to migrate the data back into the database essentially. And then we're going to go Python 3 manage. We're going to load the data from NearBeach fixtures, and instead of the no setup fixture, we're actually going to do basic setup. So now the basic setup is in there. What we want to do is the git checkout. Implement Nox, and we're going to go Python 3 manage migrate. So we're going to apply the migrations onto this fixture, or the database essentially, which stores the fixture data. And then we're just going to go Python 3 manage dump data. Format is going to be JSON, indent is going to be 2, and that's just going to be into NearBeach fixtures, and then the basic setup. So I'm actually happy with that. Now the other thing I want to do, Python 3 manage test. I want to see if this test works. And then we're going to fix what doesn't work. And some of those warnings we're actually going to put into the bug tracker. And we're going to go, all right, cool. these are something we've got to fix. All right, it ran the whole entire test. There's nothing we've got to do except upload this. So git status, git add, git up commit, fix to basic setup fixtures for NearBeach unit tests. We're going to go git push. Now we're actually going to commit everything to git status. We are going to go git flow feature finish. I'm double checking on what the symbol is. Squash is a capital S. All right. Yeah, so I just use plain old vanilla Ubuntu. I used to use other distros and do all of that stuff and change the desktop environment and all that kind of fun stuff about 15 years ago when I had a lot more free time. Nowadays, I'm just happy with basic Ubuntu. Yeah. Okay, squash the following. Okay, cool. Implementation of the Django REST Nox for better API key management. All right, cool. All right. So we should be in dev now. And now I've made some changes already in dev, so this actually got merged in pretty well without any conflicts, which is great news for me. Just because I've also been editing dev, I've been updating quite a lot of the libraries, we've been looking at security stuff and so forth like that. And Scotty B, how are you? How many monitors do you have and what size? All right, so I've got ultra wides. And I have 2 of them, so I've got them stacked, which is why you see me looking up at chat. So yeah, I've got something. I forgot what monitors I have. They're not too ridiculous. Oh, that side sucks. Yeah, they're kind of like this size, 34-inch. Yeah. Nothing too fancy. So yeah, I've got 2 of those. Not that monitor precisely. The monitor above me, they don't make any more. And the monitor that's here, I didn't buy it. I don't know what monitor it is. All right. We're just going to jump back into the NearBeach. So pipelines. Ooh. Oh no. No. I just read that wrong. Implement Nox. Implement Nox. All right. That's running. All right. So I actually like Git Flow. It's an optional sort of tool set for you, meaning if you look at it and you're like, no, that doesn't match my workflow, that's perfectly fine. So what it does, and if I find a diagram in here, it's a little bit better. The idea is you've got 2 branches. So you got your master branch, which is designed for releases. You got your develop branch, which you can connect up to your development server and do CI/CD. Same with the main one. And then what you do is you start creating features. So you would go, in this sort of case, I created a branch called feature Django Nox, where I implemented the Django Nox in it, and then I implemented the CRUD for the creation and deletion of the API keys. And I worked on that until I was happy with it. I tested it, and then I merged that feature, or finished that feature, and it merges into the develop branch. So that's part of the features. However, this gets even better. So yeah, you'll do something like this: skit, flow, feature, start, and then you have your feature branch name. You can also do releases. So you can do a release branch which grabs, I think, from dev or something like that, and puts it into master. However, usually I do that through a pull request, so I don't use that feature for my workflow. There are hotfix branches, which I do actually like. So what a hotfix does is every now and then you might release something that's a little bit buggy and you're like, oh, we need to just change this one line to get this out and stuff like that. And you create a quick hotfix. And what this does is when you finish the hotfix, it's meant to put that commit in both the master and the development branch, which I kind of find neat. So yeah. Ever tried Spring for backend projects? No. So I don't even know what Spring is. Spring framework. Ooh. Comprehensive programming configuration model for modern Java enterprise applications on any kind of development platform. Neat. I haven't actually used Java. I've done PHP, I've done, of course, Django, I've done .NET. .NET I do a lot at work. I've done a little bit of Ruby on Rails, not much. So, yeah. I'm always open to trying new things, though. Good experience to do on evening empty time. Oh, fair enough, yeah. Okay, so we know the front end tests take forever. This looks like it's running. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to say, yep, cool, this works. We do actually have a bunch of tests we do before we actually do a release, so yeah. What did I want to do? I want to... So we got it down into the development. Now, with the development, there's a lot of files I've updated recently with new packages and stuff like that. I kind of want to... Now, this is going to be tricky. Now, usually I don't do this. Okay? So, we are actually going to draw the diagram. I'm terribly sorry. I'm left-handed. Left hand's in the sling. I can't draw whatsoever on my right. This is the master branch. This is what we usually do. So, we'll have a dev branch, which was built from the master branch. Right, I'm just going to do that. And then usually we'll have like a feature, have another feature, maybe a couple of maybe a couple of quick fixes that I do straight to dev. And then what we do is we actually do a pull request. Into master. And then usually I do a release from there. That will be a release. I'm going to say the vast majority of the times no. If you've got something that does require some problem solving, depends on the problem solving of it. Yeah, you can actually, web development's really easy to get into, so you can jump into it very quickly. Let me adjust and put this window on the left. For example, if you wanted to get into web development, you can actually open up the console and start programming in it. You can start doing stuff in here. Alright, there's no class names or pain in here whatsoever. So document.get elements by tag name. I'm just going to see if there's any H1s. Oh, we do have a H1 in here. So what I can do, I'm terribly sorry, this is really, really tiny text. So I've just grabbed a list of all the H1s. I've just stored it into the variable A. I can then get that, and then I can go and start manipulating the page and so forth like that. So yeah. You've also got, so for example, if you wanted to play around with the CMS, you've got your Umbracos, you've got your WordPress sites where you can make custom themes and so forth like that. WordPress is quick and easy to set up to start editing a page. You can create a theme. You got to make sure that's, all right, that's fine. You can create your own WordPress theme using the Sage WordPress template to sort of create your own thing. Yeah. Oops, sorry, socks. That's a boilerplate sort of thing. It sets up everything for you, and you just go in and you start playing around with it and editing it, and you will see that on the front end. Sorry, Scotty B. I'm a lefty too, so is my wife. Left-handed people are the only people in their right mind. Yeah. So both my sister and I are left-handed. My brother's right-handed. He's the black sheep. No, I'm just kidding. I won't be able to pick up that pen at the moment. Alright, so that's all good. Okay, so yeah, I was going back with here. Now this is the problem we've got to solve. Where's my egg? Alright, so usually when I do this release, and I do apologize, that's an R that's standing on a little dot thingy. When I do a release, we have GitHub Actions taking over. And we don't want that today. So what I'm going to do today, and this is what's different, is I'm not going to do the release right away. I'm actually going to put something, I'm going to stop it here. I'm not going to do the release. I'm then going to jump over to our Docker side of things, so the NearBeach Docker library, and I'm going to run a GitHub action to create the NearBeach base Docker. Everything should be, it should only take about 4 minutes, but that should then use the latest sort of libraries that we put through, so the Django Nox and so forth like that. And then what I've got is I've got a VM on my NAS, which I set up where we can actually test the builds. Now I've kind of got it to a stage where I then need to push some of that code back into the NearBeach Docker before we do this release. So in this stage here, we are going to build Docker. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and I think that's the safest way to do it. There's been many times where I've missed one little tiny variable or something like that, and it's absolutely, I've gone to deploy onto my own production environment. It's taken out my production environment, which then is a lot more work because then I've got to find out what the exact problem is, jump into Docker Hub, clear the latest sort of stuff, fix up the problem, rebuild, and it can take the build process, so from the release process onwards, can take up to half an hour. And hey, how are you? Hopefully you're going well, Akpi. So I had surgery on my shoulder. My AC joint was separating. This is because I got hit by a car 3 years ago. So yeah, got hit by a car, had a hook plate in there for a while. It got taken out, and then just over time, sadly, it regressed back to a stage 3-4 AC joint separation. So yeah, got it fixed. This is good surgery. I'm very uncomfortable at the moment, but that's perfectly fine. I'm just looking forward to once the pain starts going away, it will be all done. It'll be great. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah. Anyway, welcome back. Alright, so going with this, that is my plan of attack. But there's a couple of steps I've got to do before doing the pull request. So yeah, let's go to not GitHub, sorry, let's go to NearBeach, read the docs. Let's go down into our procedures. Deployment on NearBeach. Alright, so I'm actually going to stop this. I need it running in a minute. I'm actually going to switch it around with the terminal. Can get rid of that. I'm going to remove the node. No, I'm not going to remove the node modules because it'll take forever to actually re-download them. I'm going to do npm audit, 0 vulnerabilities. That is great. We need to npm run prod. And sorry. Give me a minute. All right, sorry about that. Talking about pain. I had to move very, very quickly because I thought I stood on a cattail, and no, that hurt. And it was a pen. Thank you very much, Akpi. Yeah. I am looking forward to this whole saga being over. Alright. We're just compiled, so I've done that step. Now we're going to do the end-to-end. Now, I've got to turn on the server. Don't know why I turned it off. I'm going to do npm run e2e. Hey Rahul, how are you? So, it's pretty simple. No real brand reason why. I just knew Django, and I knew VueJS, and that's it. However, that being said, I'm always open for other technologies and stuff like that. So, for example, I use a lot of .NET at work, and I quite like .NET. I'm happy to use PHP, so Laravel is a great example, and I've used Ruby on Rails in the past too. But at the time that I started building this, I just knew Django, and I knew VueJS. So yeah. All right, we've got a bunch of problems, but we'll wait for this to finish. It might be just it. Sometimes it just happens with one of the instances. It's only happened with mobile Chrome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to redo it. I'm going to wait. All right. There we go. That sometimes happens. So yeah, we just jump in, we check it, and we're like, it's just doing it for one client, which usually means that client didn't log in properly. So we just rerun it and it just works the second time. So I'm happy with that. We're just going to close that. New default of, yep. Check all screenshots. Yep, you guys can help me with the checking of the screenshots. Ooh, we've just hit an ad break. So for those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch to stop the pre-rolled ads because they suck. We tend to do this so no one misses out on any content, but you guys don't get ads, so that's perfectly fine. You get to see both myself And my cat Socks, who's probably going to cause trouble. Did you want to? No, you just want to sit on the and stare at the blinds. Oops, sweetie. You know I can't lift you properly. There we go. All right, how are we with? It's about 50 seconds left. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going great tonight. We are getting close to doing a release, so yeah, I'm excited for this release because we've got a bunch of fixes in there. One of the fixes I want because I want to test load balancing. On one of my VMs at home, I've decided to put in the $1 million row test. I don't think there's no $1 million row. Sorry, a million numbers, a million rows. And that's just a lot of data in there. And what I'm noticing is when I'm hitting the API, it crashes out. And that's because there's no pagination. You went back to Python to take a break from Rust for a while and are enjoying it a lot. Oh, that's good to hear. Dunder methods are a breeze now, as well as a lot of things I thought were difficult in Python. Yeah. There's a lot of things which I thought were difficult at the start in any language. This goes with any language. And after a while, it just clicks. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I get it. Like Terranary, I keep forgetting the freaking name. Let's go .NET. Ternary functions. I thought these were these little things here. I thought these were confusing at one point. So yeah. It is kind of somewhat similar, so not as complex as Jira. So if I show you what it looks like, I don't have the best UI UX skills, but what you can actually do is gather basic organization and customer details. You can then gather user requirements and break them down into requirement items. From there, you can create your projects and your tasks, assign them to groups and users, and you can also create your own Kanban boards to help all track that. You've also got requests for changes, so when you're ready to deploy. We also now have API. Well, we're building the API in. So yeah, as per someone has requested an API, we're building it in. When we finish off the 0.31 branch, we will be migrating everything to use the API, and we will be doing some findings is the word I'm using. So I'll be doing a bit of load testing, not load balancing, load testing on the site and stuff like that. So I've set up a VM which I am going to absolutely hit. And the VM has a lot of data on it. So yeah, getting excited. Anyway, we got to look at the tests. So we're in here, we go to tests. No, wrong one. It's the test results. We just gotta make sure that nothing looks broken. Alright, it does look fine. And hey, Burnhan, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Alright, this looks good. Yep, I'm quite happy with that. And then we got the team leader, which doesn't have as many screenshots, but if everything worked on the other pages, these should work. This is more for testing sort of permission issues. All right, the search waiting for results, that's perfectly fine. That's no functionality. All right, so I'm just going to close this. What we're going to do is have a look at this. So we've made sure the latest builds. We are going to git status, git add, git commit, and we're going to go release 0.31.87 or something like that. Let's actually have quite a look. So we're going to go Docker, hub Docker. I'm going to search for NearBeach. You want to learn about machines, tech, like laptops and mobile stuff, tech stuff, please help. So, as in like hardware stuff? Because I don't do any hardware stuff. 86, all right, 87. I don't even know how to solder. So, I do know there will be streams that are dedicated to hardware, so if you're wanting to know more about that sort of stuff, for example, soldering or building up your own sort of computer and stuff like that, there definitely will be streams out there for you. But sadly, I'm just software, so yeah. Alright, so did I type 86 or 87? I did type 87. Thank God. Alright, cool. So that has been pushed to GitHub. So I can close these now. I can also stop the server. Both hardware and software. Alright, with software I can help you. What level are you? Like, are you absolutely coming in fresh, brand new? Because if you're into web development, there's free code camp. Terraneer operators remind me of a list of comprehensions. Oh, okay. Yeah, for a while I did not get them. I was like, what the hell are these? Yeah, but I do now. Yes, and UP. All right, cool. So, in your browser, you can open up the web tools. So depending if you're using Chrome, oops, I opened up settings. Chrome or Firefox, usually it's under the tools and then web developer tools. Oops, I closed it on that screen. Let's have it on this screen. Let's just go to nearbeach.org. And what you can actually do is you've got a console login here. So you can actually start playing around with this and sort of learning how to program that way. What you can also do on here is you can go document get elements by tag name. And what we're looking for is we're looking for header ones in here. So we can actually get all these header ones. As you see, when I hover over these particular I do believe this is a collection, so it's not, I don't know if it's an array or not, but judging by the mustache brackets, I'm going to say probably not. As you can see, we can grab the first one. So if I go up here, I can go var A equals that. We've got that stored in A, and then I can go B equals A, and we're actually going to grab the first one. And there it is there. So there's our B, and then we can sort of edit this. Where we can go, I forgot what you can sort of look at what you can do by putting in a full stop and be like, oh, I can change all of these values and stuff like that. So that's a good place to start. There's other places too, so you can look up Python in browser, or there's other different languages out there that you can sort of run in your own sort of in the browser where you can play around with it. And my recommendation for these particular ones is you can always find stuff online simply by going, for example, if we stick with JavaScript basics. I would stay away from W3 tools. No, that one's actually going into adding interactivity. You find yourself a tutorial and play around with it on here, so you can do like a hello world type of thing and so forth like that, and it teaches you what to do. So yeah. Also, your typing speed is really good. Like, how do you type so fast and accurate? So I wouldn't say it's accurate. I do quite a lot of spelling mistakes. It's just years of me typing. You don't need to be the fastest typer to program. There are a lot of tricks out there. So for example, if we actually go over to the editor up here and go into admin, and this is probably a bad one. Let's open up the views, let's open up the object scheduler and stuff like that. If I go into here and I type in something like that, you can actually hit tab to fill that out quickly. So there are tricks to actually, you know, seem a little bit faster than what you are. And I heavily do utilize those. You'll also probably hear me complain about the fact that sometimes it doesn't make sense what the IDE wants me to pick whenever the AI is on, which is why I turn the AI off. And Abhijit, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. I'm going good, thank you very much. So yeah, we are hopefully doing a release tonight. So yeah, I'm just wrapping things up. We want to now do the pull request. So we're going to jump into the repository. We are going to jump onto dev. We should actually see a little green thing in here saying, yes, 5 minutes ago, compare and pull. So what I want to do is I want to first get rid of that. I want to do fixes and features. The features will be implementation of the Django REST Nox library. Talk about typing. Every now and then if I mistype, I actually freeze up completely. Implementation of the ability for super users to create and delete API keys against the users. Oops. All right, so going down here, we've added more unit tests. So I'm going to put that in. Implementation of more backend unit tests. Are there open issues and are you accepting PRs? I do accept PRs. We do get PRs every now and then. Currently, we do have open issues. However, we store them on our UTrack. I'll just get. Now, you should be able to see these because we have actually opened up the board. I don't believe I'm logged in at the moment. So yeah, you should be able to see these. You just go by one that's in progress. Or not fix. Submitted. Submitted is the one which we're using. So yeah, this is actually a better. Thanks. What am I doing currently? We are working on NearBeach, an open source project management system. You'll be able to gather basic organization and customer details. You can gather their user requirements, break them down into requirement items. From there, create projects and tasks. Use a Kanban board if you wanted to, and then when you're ready, you can do a request for change if you've ever had to do a request for change. They're getting fewer and fewer just because of CI/CD. So yeah, which is not a bad thing. Are you a CS undergrad? Oh, cool. Yeah, neat. So fun fact, I did mathematics. We learnt C in mathematics along with MATLAB, Maple, and so forth like that. And then I ended up, as I was still studying, working at a university, and yeah, I eventually upskilled myself to web development. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close this. Close this, we don't need that open anymore. I'm gonna leave that open. So this is just comparing, we're just going through this because it's been a little while. As you see, June the 27th, there's stuff we added in last month. I've been away for a little bit, so yeah, I'm just getting back into it. I know that there were things in here which I know I fixed up. So we've got the Swagger documentation. Which reminds me, I've got to fix up the Swagger documentation, which we'll do after the pull request. Is there a plan to add agile boards to? Not at the moment. However, we do have a Discord and we're very happy to discuss new features. So, yeah. Update requirements. Oh yeah, yep. All right, cool. Now that's not a fix. That would, sorry, that won't be a feature. It'll be a fix. Update libraries for security reasons. Update. All right, there you go. Merge into main, code smell fixes. Usually done, and that should just look, yeah, that's pretty simple. We tend not to do very much in here. You want to be tech geek? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, just be willing to always learn new things. All right, I'm going to do a pull request now. Now, because it's been a little while, I'm going to double check everything. All right. So with the Swagger stuff, I do believe this just now works, but I'm going to open up the actions. Oh, that hurt then. Hang on. Build in Swagger, deploy. That didn't work. Oh, all right. So we've got a problem already. I've got to check my requirement files. I'm from Australia. So yeah, specifically Melbourne. All right, GitHub, NearBeach. Oops, spelt that wrong. I'm checking the requirements. We should have Django Nox in here, and no, we don't. All right, so this is definitely going to cause a problem. So I'm going to not go ahead with this particular one. Actually, no, I meant to look at the development branch. Not a problem. So we know it's not in here. Okay, we've gotten rid of that one. Django REST framework, two-factor. Django REST Nox. So it is in here. I'm just trying to think why Swagger won't like that. So I'm trying to remember how we get our Swagger to run and stuff like that. So when you do stream generally, also what are your PC specs? So I stream usually Monday, Wednesday and Friday at the Australian Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 to 10. However, that time at the moment is going to not be as long, just because due to this, I get very tired trying to stay awake and stuff like that. And you probably see me sort of lose a lot of energy around about the 8:30 mark, which we're almost reaching. So, yeah. As for the PC spec, it is not the newest PC. Give me a couple of seconds. Alright, here we go. So, as you see, I'm just using Ubuntu 24.04. I've just got an AMZ Ryzen 9 7950. Yeah. And 4 terabytes of disk space. Alright. Little concerned about this. No module named Nox. I'm gonna have to check the files. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm going to bring back this one. I'm gonna put it here so we can have a look at it. I'm gonna close this. We're gonna see how that code runs. Worst case scenario, if everything else is working, I'm still happy to go with the push because our Swagger documentation is already up there. So we do actually have our Swagger documentation up there. I do need to go through it and actually fix it up and so forth like that. So there's a few things I wanted to fix up. For example, the description, that's way too short. I want something more meaty in there. I also want to get rid of this authorized sort of stuff and all of these sort of tests. I don't want to have try it out in here because this documentation is just for reference only. Okay, so I want to go to GitHub. I want to open up workflows and open up this one. So we've got on branches, develop workflow, you move to latest actions, checkout, set up the Python, install the dependencies, spectacular and all of that. All right. So I'm not actually reading. This is the one line that's problematic. This can be fixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to NearBeach.utrack now. I am going to have to log in. I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to have to get you two guys to actually look at my face for a little bit as I log in. Oh, I got two-factor again. Oh. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm making sure my keyboard is not showing. Has that happened before? Yes, but Socks actually saved the day. She was in front of the keyboard. No one could see past her fluffy butt. All right. Cool. So I'm going to put this in as a new issue. Swagger not updating due to missing libraries. All right, cool. So it is. I just got a wallet sort of thing around it. So yeah. Yeah. So in here, we've got a bit of bad practice. This really shouldn't belong in here. We should be referencing the requirement files directly. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to open up the code block. I'm going to place that in, and I'm going to state that down here. Now, this is C# detected. No. This is Docker. So, with the above code for the Swagger workflow, we'll need to make sure the installation references the requirements.txt file, not place every library inside here. And that's what we're going to fix. This will be assigned to, yeah, definitely me. I don't know why this will be, I'm going to say it's going to be a major one. It's definitely a bug. It's definitely submitted. This actually will be, all right. We're going to create one for GitHub Actions. I'm going to give it a lovely light pink, just because it's right there, and I don't think I really use that color much. We're not going to assign a version to it yet. We are going to create it. So we know what the bug is. I'm going to say it's not going to actually affect us in doing this release, because I can actually fix this up outside of the release and have it working very quickly. So now going with back to here. So I'm happy with that not working. And the rest of the PRs work perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go, yep, cool. Yeah, I was looking at the files changed. So I'm gonna tick this, we're happy with it. Now the admin one, yeah, there was no changes, I'm happy with that one. This is the NearBeach basic setup, that's the fixtures that we just did. I'm happy with that one, I don't need to check that, because the unit tests ran perfectly fine with that data. So the update current, yep, that's just, we just had a false in there and it didn't do anything, so I'm gonna be like, yep. That's just a new migration. We've tested that migration multiple times. We're actually happy with this migration, so I am going to go, yes, that is done. With the models, we're actually extending the auth token by adding in our own description and change user. I'm happy with that. That's awesome. With the requirement, all right, so we get rid of that. We add that in. We do a couple of changes in here. I'm going to be happy with that. Yes. That's just removing a blank line. User API serializer. So we've tested the serializer. We know that that's part of that. So I'm going to tick yes. The min.js we're not going to worry about. Any of the static files we're not going to worry about whatsoever because they're compiled. And the end-to-end tests should have picked those up. So the templates, we've just added that in today. We're happy with that. That's actually showing when it's meant to and not when it's not meant to. The function tests, we've done a couple of naming convention changes in here. This is all working perfectly fine. This is part of the test functionality. These tests are working. This is the, so we've removed the status. We've done a couple of things where I've added in types and yeah, all right, cool. So this is part of the tests. That's just an empty file. So for those that want to know, under init, under bot.py, that's empty usually. You can add stuff into it. We do in some of them. But yeah, that just tells the system, hey, this folder is a Python folder. So yeah, we definitely want that in there. The admin tests, all right, so we're actually happy with these particular tests. I think this is the test admin user settings, yep. These tests, we ended up adding in some fields that were missing. So yeah, our linter complained about it. And I was like, oh, linter, stop complaining about it. It should be extending the, but yeah, the linter just didn't want to stop complaining about it. So, all right, those are name changes. Yeah, we just, once again, we just added a bunch of gets to these. URLs API, yep, we just added in the endpoint for the API CRUD. This is what we added in today for our base permissions. That's what I want to actually have talked with. All right, so user API, that's the API which we've done. Oh yeah, these are just fixes. That should work. I do want to quickly test it though, because it'll take me 2 seconds to test it. So if I go into here, I go into new customer. Oops. New customer, Mrs. Fox Fluffy Butt. All right, that worked. Yeah, I looked in the Django documentation and they're like, do it like as an array. So yeah, I've just changed a couple of those. That's just name changes and stuff like that. So a lot of this is just me doing a bit of code smells in the system. Yep, that's fine. That's actually because if it passes all those if statements, it'll do a 500 issue because it'll crash. That's to fix that crash. Oh, and we've just reached an ad break. So welcome back to the ads. For those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch to stop the pre-rolled ads. You guys don't need to worry about ads whatsoever. And yeah, we just hang out for a little bit. So yeah. Hopefully everyone's going well. The ads go for about 90 seconds. We're about a minute left. I am going to quickly tick a couple more of these. Sorry, my leg just seized up. We've got the Knox model auth authentication, submit users. Yep, and then all right, it's cool. I've got some code cleanup to still do. Not a problem. This is doing with the local settings. Yep, that's working perfectly fine. The requirement dev, that is working perfectly fine. The viewed, yep, that's working. Requirements. Yep, that's working perfectly fine. The source JS application. Yep. Oh, we're at the end of the list. All right, cool. But potentially, but I don't think anyone's reaching out for so yeah. It's yeah. Anyway, welcome back everyone. All right, cool. So I've just checked the last couple very quickly. I am going to say review required. I've done the review. I know that there's a couple of deep source stuff which I need to clean up. That's why they're failing, and we know that one's failing. But the other ones are perfectly fine. Those are the ones that are more important. Yeah, I spotted a couple of bad smells as I was doing all that, but that's perfectly fine. I am going to bypass the rules because I can. And there it goes. So, if we have a look at our diagram, we've just done this. We're right here. So now we are going to test on Docker. So the first things first, we are going to go into GitHub. We're going to go NearBeach. We're going to go NearBeach Docker. We're going to close this. We're going to close this. We're going to close this. And we're going to close this. All of that's perfectly fine. So in here, you'll have a look at the dockerfile.base, and if we actually scroll down, we've got this here, which is the key component, and it's a request get. And if we actually highlight all of this, copy it and paste it into here, we've got a variable passing through called target branch. I'm going to remove that. That should be main. And as you see, it's updated the requirements. We can see that we've got the Django REST Knox. I might put this in alphabetical order one day. We've got the updated Django versions. We've got the updated URL lib version, and so forth like that. We're going to rebuild this Docker base. And the best news is we've got a GitHub action for it. So we jump into here. We jump into base Docker automation. We've got a run workflow. We're running it off the main. And then we run the workflow. Because we haven't actually changed anything. Now that workflow was triggered, but it isn't appearing in here. I'm just going to hit there it is. It took a second. All right, cool. Now, in reality, this should take about, all right, it's saying 6 minutes to 7 minutes, a couple of nearly 8-minute one. Oh, that's just 7.4. Yeah, it won't take too long to do. So in the meantime, I'm going to let that run. I'm going to open up my VM, and I'm going to talk about my VM. All right, I've got to type in my password for my VM. Make sure no one can see my keyboard. Oh, you guys can. Yeah. I want the people. All right. I am going to have it on this page. There's my VM. In fact, I'm going to leave it like this. go back to the live streaming one. Oh, it just doesn't fit in. All right, so if I do that, I'm gonna bump. Actually, I'm gonna knock that one off to another screen. So if I do that, you guys should see my VM. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do, because a lot of people do stuff visually and not in the terminal, I'm going to open up this. So we've got just this. In here, I have 3 folders. I've got NearBeach, which is the source code to NearBeach. I've got NearBeach Compose, which contains a Docker Compose file. I need to actually make sure that the Docker engine is running. Got to open up the Docker. And then in the last one is the NearBeach Docker, which is once again the source code. What I'm going to do is I've made a few changes in this one. I'm going to check the changes I've made in this one. I'm going to revert some of those changes until I am happy with the changes that are made. And then I'm going to rebuild a local version of my Docker build. From there, I'm going to use the Docker Compose. And what the Docker Compose is going to do is essentially set up a Docker environment with what I've just built. That local Docker file, container I've just built. But also, at the same time, it's connected to a volume, which is to that GitHub repository. So I'm going to make sure that the code that we've pushed on main will work. And that's the idea here. Sounds complicated. I do understand. It is. I confuse myself all the time. So we're going to try this and hopefully it works. But the good news is if something fails, I can investigate why it failed. If it's because I've done this setup incorrectly, then I can refix it. However, I did test this out. But if it failed for a legit reason, we can push a couple of patches to get that fixed before we go to our release. So before we do this R on a circle drawn terribly, we're going to test it. Now, I've just got to wait for this automation to finish first, which isn't too much a problem. We've got stuff we can do in the meantime. So I'm going to open up this. I am going to go and clear the screen. I'm going to go git status. I want to see the changes I've made. Now, I've made a change with the Docker file. So if I actually go I just put git and diff in my head, and I just went diff. Diff for the Docker file. We can see that I put in 1 line of code. Now, I don't think we need that anymore. That was just me testing because I needed to put in that one requirement, that one Python library in there. I'm going to actually git check out the Docker file because I don't think we need it anymore. And if we have a look at the git status again, I've made a change to the Ocean Suite settings. Now, the changes I've made in the Ocean Suite settings are to get the Django Nox working. So if we go git diff, and we just hit enter because there's only 1 file now, we can see I've imported date time delta. We've imported from the REST framework settings, import the API settings. You can see that I've got a Nox token model, and then it skips a bunch of lines. And then you can see that down here, I've removed the REST framework auth token and I've placed in Nox. So that's part of the Nox REST, the Django Nox, Django REST Nox settings and structure. So this is what I needed to change in here to get this to work. Then we go down, we notice that, I made a couple more changes, and then we've got the pagination stuff in there now, which is going to be great. This is what I haven't actually released. When I was load testing, it failed doing the API because I put so much data in the system that the system was like, oh, 1 million rows, no, we can't pass this into JSON. We've got the REST Nox in there. And all of those settings I do believe I'm happy with. I should double check this instead of just glazing over it. So yeah, import datetime, import the API, the Nox.auth token, I do believe that's okay. I don't know if I actually have to use the NearBeach.extends auth token. We've got the installed apps, that's fine. We are still using session and basic authentication with the token authentication in this sort of case because we will need front-end users to actually access the API. We've got the default schema class, which will be the OpenAI schema class. Yep, cool. Default pagination class. Yep, we're happy with that one. Page size at 100. I think 100 is good. We might consider putting that as a variable users could want to update. So for example, if you're on more lower end systems, we might put in a setting which will change that. And what will actually happen is it'll check to see if you actually put that as an environmental variable in and then update it for you. Probably not at the moment. Oh no, the demo's up. It's very slow. The demo's also on a very old version, I've just noticed. So there's a lot of things I've done since this version. Yeah, 76. We're on 87. Still usable. And the password... Give me a couple of seconds, I will... Oops, demo, and all right, there it goes. So the username is demo, test $1234 is the password. And yeah. All right, so I'm happy with this. We're going to see if this is run. All right, cool. This has run. So we've just now got to build the Docker file. Okay, and the great news is I've done something smart. I'm pretty happy about this myself. I've got to clean up the nodes, but I made a little build locally for testing. I can just copy this. I go over here. I do have to do a little bit of this stuff to get it into the system. So bear with me one little tiny second as I just do that. There we go. So this should take a couple of minutes just to build. How are you getting to the, what's the URL? Is it demo.nearbeach.org? Ah, shoot. All right, yeah, no, that's my bad. Sorry. It's .app. Sorry about that, I should have copied the URL. All right. Yeah, this will take a little while. I'm just checking on my bitrate. Yeah, the bitrate's fine. I'm not uploading anything. I remember when I had slowish internet, whenever I do the PYPI upload, which I used to have to do manually, stream would suffer. So, yeah. All right, getting there slowly. All right, sorry, yeah, this will take a little while to do. As you see, we're at step 7 out of 18. Or 2 out of 12. I don't know which one to believe. I'm guessing the top one. And the bottom one's something else. Alright. This pizza's falling apart. Oh. Excuse me for eating. I only had yogurt today, and then yeah, I needed to sleep before stream, so. All right, all done. I'll have to look into this, but yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm just finishing the pizza very, very quickly. Anyway, here we are. We're setting up a basic sort of database. Don't worry about looking at the passwords or anything like that. This is the local system. It's not production. I'm not putting this out in the world. This is just for testing purposes. Just be surprised I'm not using database, or user. It's just, yeah. All right, so we've got our container. Now this is it. This is the local sort of thing. Don't worry about these. This is just a mail trap. Worst case scenario, I just reset the credentials, which I can easily do at any point. The emails are going to go nowhere. They get trapped in a system for me to actually collect. So we've got robotic head, NearBeach local. So that's the local one we've literally just built. And what it'll do is this will set it all up. Now the next trick of the thing is this here. So we've got the home NearBeach site, NearBeach. So that's the source code of NearBeach on our local system. And we're mapping it into this user local Python 3.13 sites NearBeach. So this gives us the ability to sort of change the code in the system and stuff like that. So I will show you guys in a minute. I think this is sweet. I'm gonna go docker compose up, detach it from the terminal because we don't need it running in the terminal. Now, is it recreating NearBeach? It shouldn't be recreating the database. The database should just work. All right, cool. It's started and it started. Sweet. We should be able to go to localhost 8000. The connection was reset, so this is not good. However, we're going to go over a few details. We're going to find out why. No migrations to apply. Oh. Okay, cool. There's no problems. Essentially, I started the browser a little too quickly. Now that we're in here at the moment, we're like, all right, cool. Now, I'm noticing that I can't see the bottom of the page. I'm just going to do that. And just double click on that. Is it because? I must be the browser. I'm not seeing the bottom to see the version or anything like that. Not a problem. So what we got in here is it's looking like it's working, which is good. We can list all objects. We don't have any objects at the time because this is a fresh build. We can in fact build something very, very quickly. Usually if we have got a problem, we would spot it by now. but this time it looks like I've set up everything correctly. We need a stakeholder organization. There's no organization, that's perfectly fine. That's just the default sort of stuff. So yeah, everything's looking like it's working. We don't have any other groups. We do have other users. That's easy. I'm actually quite happy with this. So what we now need to do is if we go NearBeach Docker, we've got to push that. Now, I don't have my environment here actually connected up to Docker, so we're actually going to cheat. Just because it's a lot easier. So we need to go into Ocean Suite. We're going to open up this. I'm just opening it up with a text editor. I'm going to, oops, wrong copy. I'm going to copy. We're going to go into here. We're going to do the naughty thing and actually apply it directly. So we've got the settings. We're going to edit. We're going to copy everything. We're going to... No, it's not... hold on. Sorry, I need to do that. Yeah, no, that should be fine because we've got that other one on main. This should be fine. So we've got all this. I'm happy with this. So we've got secret key passing through. We've got the Nox. Yep. All right, cool. Allowed hosts and all that kind of stuff comes through. We've got the Nox stuff. Sweet. All right, cool. We've got the database and all that kind of stuff in here. Awesome news. All right, cool. I am going to hit commit changes. We're going to commit directly to the main branch. We're going to, this is implementation of the Django REST Nox library. Added in the required settings, so the Docker builds will not break. That's what we want. And this is committed directly. All right, cool. So I'm happy with that. So we've tested everything. Let's do our release, and then I'm going to call it for the stream tonight. I'm exhausted. I just want to eat, and I'm probably going to lie down. I'm quite sore at the moment. So we're going to go back into NearBeach. We are going to go, because we've done a bunch of copying and pasting, we're going to jump into here. We're going to open up our closed. We're going to go and open up the develop. I really got to rename these things coming through. We're going to edit. We're actually just going to copy that. That's all we're going to, that's why we're here. We've now got to go down here and create a new release. We're just going to paste that in before we lose that data. And we're going to go 0.31.87 as the tag. And we're just going to go 0.31.87 as the release title. We are going to generate release notes. All right, I am going to snooze the ad break. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And this is it. We just have to publish release. All right, cool. All I need to do is fix the Swagger stuff, which is just me probably looking at what I did elsewhere so I can reference the file. I was wondering how I can do it. Anyway, I'm just, yeah, I'm gonna call it here. All I need to do is fix the Swagger file. I've got a couple of ideas in my head. Worst case scenario, I need to include all the libraries again, which I don't want to do, but I'll see if I can read a requirements.txt file from the code. That's my best preference. So let's find someone to rate. NearBeach the latest release of NearBeach will happen in about half an hour. It's got to compile everything. It's got to upload to PyPI. It's then got to deploy all the static files to the CDN and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, I can see Togglebit. I think he's starting up. Yeah, let's see what he's doing. Yeah, he's just starting up at the moment. So we're going to do this. I'm going to hit it on the right screen. Make sure I don't accidentally type that into his chat because that would be awkward. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much everyone for coming. I do hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. I don't know if I'll be around on Friday. It just honestly depends how awake I am. I've been having to have afternoon naps and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah. Anyway, we'll turn off the music so you guys can hear Togglebit. Anyway, thank you very much and have fun. And for those on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It actually does help the channel, and I greatly appreciate you guys being here. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time. So yeah, thank you.